Hello and welcome back to Airdrie Public Library Virtual Programming. Today we are going to be looking at an interactive storytelling app called TWINE. This is for writing interactive non-linear stories, kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure book or something like that. So I'm here on twinery.org and we can download this app or just use it online like I'm going to. So we hit use online and we can add a new story here, create a name for it. I'm going to call it Library Adventure. And there we go. We have popped up into our new story. So this here is called a passage, and you can make some small changes out here. You can make it larger, smaller. Anyways, this is our overall story, and this little green rocket here is where it'll start. I can click this button down here and it'll give me some advanced options here. Under story format, we can see all the kind of programming languages we can use for this. The default is Harlow 3.1. It's pretty simple, not too complicated. If you want something more advanced for programming, you can do like SugarCube. I hear that one is very powerful, but for this tutorial, we are going to be sticking with Harlow. Alright, and if you want any kind of information about Harlow and that kind of stuff, there is the documentation page here. You can just favorite that, whatever you need, and it has a ton of really good information. And I'll actually be using this page in a lot of my tutorials. Alright, going back to this, close that, and we can double click our passage to edit it. Let's rename this to Start. And we can start writing our story. So how do we want to start it? You show up at the old abandoned library. Just like that, we have the start of our story. We can hit test to test it out. It'll pop up in a new tab here. You show up at the old abandoned library. A good start. Let's add some branching paths, because that is the hallmark of interactive story, is having options. Being able to say, I want to do this and go to option A, or I want to do that and go to option B. So to do that, we're going to create something called a link. I'm going to create two square brackets, and it kind of looks like two boxes. I'm going to go try the front door. If I close this, you can see a new passage was automatically created for try the front door. Let's test it out and see if it works. Show up at the old abandoned library, and we can see that try the front door is in blue and bold, and we can click it. And that takes us to our try the front door passage. So we need a second path. Maybe we want to try the window. And if we want to trip someone up, if we want to say it displays try the window, but it actually takes us to a passage called Trip and Fall. You can use that little arrow. So I close this, and you can see it's now linked to a passage called Trip and Fall. If we hit test here, it still says try the window. So let's add some looks to this. I'm gonna bold abandoned library, and I'm going to italicize you. It's not just you, it's you, the reader. In try the window, or trip and fall, we can edit this to make some more sense here. You can say you walk towards the window, but trip and fall down a hole all the way to the basement. And by the front door, you can say you try the front door, but it is locked with heavy chains and a padlock. So let's try out our game now. You show up at the old abandoned library. You try the front door. You try the front door, but it's locked with heavy chains and a padlock. Okay, we can go back and try the window. You walk towards the window, but trip and fall down a hole all the way to the basement. That looks pretty cool, but I think we can make it even cooler using some programming. So to program, we're going to put our commands inside brackets. And the command I'm going to use here is called color. To change this color to red. And to tell it what to change to red, after that command, I need to put another box. So I want to say change what's inside the box here to the color red. If I want to just check out this passage, I can hover over it and hit the play button, and it'll open up that passage. We now see the basement is in red. It's even scarier looking now. But I think we can take it a step further and put a command inside this command. We're going to go text style. And I just found this on the Harlow documentation here. I believe if we scroll down a little bit, there's a big list of text styles. Somewhere on this page eventually. Well, I'll find that later. Anyways, I have this marked out already because it's a really cool effect. It's called smear. When we put this in quotations, we can see that the color changed here actually, so it knows that it is a string. And then we have to say we want just what's in these brackets, these square brackets, to be smeared. Now let's try that again. Look at that now, it kind of has that red glow behind it. Truly terrifying. So we can make it look pretty cool, but let's do some interactive storytelling, some really cool stuff. So we're going to create what's called a hook. Put a box around this locked, because I want this to be clickable. And then I'm going to put a tag on it that says hook. Imagine this as like a gift box and this as like a tag. This character here is called the pipe. It is what you get when you hold the shift key when doing the /. So this is just the button and this is the pipe. It's the one above your enter key, below your backspace, not the / that does the question mark. You want the /. So this is called a hook when you put a box around something and then tag it. And from the hook, we can do commands and say click on our hook, do this. So when this is clicked, we want to say the padlock is old and rusty. Now let's see how that looks. Try the front door, but it is locked with heavy chains and a padlock. And we can see that this locked button here is clickable. Pretty cool so far. But let's make it even more interesting. We're going to do another option to look around. So what if we want to find something to open this lock? We're going to do the look around passage that takes us over here. And in this look around passage, we're going to say you look around and find a pair of bolt cutters. Bolt cutters are those big claw-like things that people usually use to cut locks off of bikes and stuff like that. Just like earlier, I'm going to hook this, and we're going to call this hook cutters. And we're going to say, when you click on cutters, I'm going to say bolt cutters added to inventory. And after that, we're going to do some programming and set a variable. So the set command will create our variables. And for any global variables, meaning we can access it no matter what passage we're in, we're going to use the $sign. $sign as cutters to true. So if we read this out, it says set our global variable has cutters to true. So this both creates it if it doesn't already exist, and then we set a value to it. We can see that the color changed on true here, so that it knows that is a special word. And then just as a little bit of added flavor, maybe we change this color to yellow. And then we're going to say go back. Back to our earlier one that says, actually, I don't know if we can have spaces in there. Try the front door. Oh, you see how it created a new one here? That is because I didn't use the same capitalization. Very picky about its capitalization. If I just change this E, you see how the arrow changed here to a double-headed arrow. So that means this passage goes to this one goes back to that one. And we can get rid of this one. So let's try it out again. Try the front door, but is locked with heavy chains and a padlock. Let's look around. Find a pair of bolt cutters. Click on it. Bolt cutters added to inventory. And we can see in our little testing thing here, we have one variable now. The has cutters Boolean value is true. So Boolean is just a value that can be true or false. Kind of like how a number has to be 0 through whatever, 100 billion. A Boolean has to be either true or false. And then we can see that the go back button works as well. Just good. Things are working out so far. But now we have to do something with this variable we've created. So when you click on locked, what if we make it so that when you click on this locked hook, it checks if you have the cutters, and if you do, you cut your way through the chains, and if you don't, it just says the padlock is old and rusty. So we're going to have to do some programming here. We're going to use the good old if statement. If our variable as cutters is true, we are going to do this. Else, meaning if it's something other than true, we are going to do this. But you cut your way through the chains. All right, so let's read this again. Then we click on the locked button here. We check if we have the cutters. If we do, we cut our way through the chains. Else, if we do not have the cutters, we say the padlock is old and rusty. Let's try that. We hit locked, and it says the padlock is old and rusty. Look around, grab those bolt cutters, go back, click on locked again, and you cut your way through the chains. Awesome. Let's just add a path to continue on through that, and I think we are good to go. So we're going to make another one of these links, and we're going to say enter the library. And let's test it from the start again. So you show up at the old abandoned library. Try the window. You walk towards the window but trip and fall down a hole all the way to the basement. If we hit back, we can try the front door. Try the front door, but it's locked with heavy chains and a padlock. Try that lock. Padlock is old and rusty. Let's look around. You look around and find a pair of bolt cutters. Bolt cutters added to inventory. Go back. And click on this lock. You cut your way through the chains. Enter the library. And there we go. That's our start of our library adventure game. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great day.